My name is Ridhima, and my group's main topic is people who don't recycle should be fined. And right beside me is Sneha, this is Mehek, that is Harleen, that is Bhuan. So let's get started. We are talking about recycling not just because it makes us feel good, but because it is a real deal solution to tackle the climate crisis. So, as climate change and waste are ever growing problems worldwide, all over the world, it is very important for us to understand that these two significant issues can affect each other simultaneously, and recycling helps in combating the climate crisis because it limits the use of raw materials, the actual product from which we produce other products, and reducing waste going into landfills. This is the main advantage of recycling. And Project Drawdown estimates that recycling between 2020 to 2050 will reduce emissions by 5.5 to 6.02 gallons. That means it is equivalent to taking down cars from the streets for over an year. That makes 1 billion cars. If you don't drive for an year, that will reduce so many emissions just because of recycling. And when an item is recycled, it is processed and it is turned something into new, rather than it is created out of a virgin raw material which is never used, or it is totally raw, or it is disposed of, or it is treated as a waste in a landfill. And recycling is basically to create something new, generally using less energy, and creating a new product from raw materials. Okay, for example, recycling aluminium, it is very energy efficient. It requires a lot of energy, and if we use aluminium scraps to make aluminium cans, it can save 95% of the energy to create a aluminium can from a raw material. That's a very huge figure.
Thank you.
And okay, Sneha will take
Let's
over the
hear
next.
the next point.
Hello, we're from the propositioning group, from the oppositioning group. This is Karan, Mehak, and Harman, and I'm Stephanie. So for my point is that individuals are free to choose whether to recycle or not because of the lack of education and awareness, or even due to the limited access to the recycling facilities, according to McGuire and Ellis from 2016. And government should focus on improving education and infrastructure to make recycling easier and more convenient for everyone, and also considering socioeconomic factor regarding recycling policies.
So I'm going to talk about that why the fine should be imposed on the people who do not separate the garbages. So my first point is that government and local authorities do that because they want recycling and they want to reduce the landfill waste. So now I'll talk briefly about it. So first point is it encourages compliance. The fines encourage residents to separate the garbage as the fear of the financial penalties, and that motivate individuals to take an extra effort to correctly sort the waste. The next point is environmental impacts. Fines help to reduce contamination, recyclables, and organic waste. Ensures that the material can be recycled and composed effectively. The next point is that they promote civic responsibility. When the fine is imposed on person, they become more responsible towards the society. The next point is public awareness. It can serve as an educational tool, promoting residents to learn and understand the significance of waste separation and its impact on environment. The last point is legal compliance. It enforces fines for improper garbage separation, reinforces the legal framework related to the waste management. It ensures that the residents comply with existing regulations and guidelines for waste disposal. So in last, I would say that fines should be imposed on the residents who do not separate the garbage.
My point is that people who do not recycle should not pay any fine, because fines cannot leads to increase the recycling rates, but instead it may leads to the frustration for the people as individuals, as it leads to a negative impact on individuals about recycling, as they are frustrated and they feel so pressurized about that, and instead of imposing fines, effort should be made on education and to aware people that how recycling is beneficial for us, what are the benefits of recycling, and also some rewards of participation for recycling should be offered to the people. It may promote the behavior changes of the people. Having a lots of bins around people can also leads to the behavior change. Some people might not know about the recycling issue, so I think it should be important. It should be important about the education and to tell them about the benefits of recycling. So just giving them fines won't change their behavior about the recycling. Moreover, when people are fined for the recycling, they feel that it's very unfair for them. So especially when they find the recycling inconvenient, so this could make them angry and frustrated and less likely to recycle.
Recycling is important because it conserves resources and reduce waste. As my team members already mentioned about the importance of fines, but I would also like to add up something, that it can also raise the fund about the campaigns, because people doesn't know that it can also help in the fund awareness campaigns. So my first point is environmental impact. Improper waste disposal contributes to environmental degradations, and recycling helps mitigate this impact by conserving resources and reducing pollutions. Fines for non-recycling encourage individuals to adopt eco-friendly practices and aligning with the global efforts to combat climate changes and preserves ecosystem. All this information is from the source United Nations Environment Program. That's a reliable source. And moreover, improper waste disposal can pose health risks such as contamination of air and water resources. Recycling reduces the risks by minimizing this amount of waste sent to the landfills. Fines for non-recycling promotes public health and well-being by encouraging proper waste management, and this information is from the World Health Organization. That's reliable source as well. And the cost of waste management, municipalities incur significant expenses in managing waste, including landfill operations and cleanup costs. Recycling reduces these expenses by diverting materials from the landfills. Fines for non-recycling helps offset these costs and responsible waste management practices, and this information is from Environmental Protection Agency.
Some people have really busy weekends, and if they had to do recycling every time, like it will become only mental pressure on them. So instead there should be like some flexibility with these things, that there should be no penalty. I mean, like people make mistakes, so every time people do not have time to do everything, so it will lead only to the mental damage to that person.
So as she said, as Ridhima said that it saves energy. It actually does. Like there are many raw materials which are then converted, recycled into a new product. Like glass, it is made of sand. The sand is heated, and other materials which are heated on a high temperature, and then glass is made. So if we do not imply any fine, so people won't take it seriously, and which might later then have problems in recycling. So recycling also generates job opportunities, like when you have to take the recycled materials, when you have to take raw materials to another place for manufacturing, it requires a driver, it requires a truck. So there's the opportunity for job which is generated there. And if people don't really accept that they should be fined for not recycling, so that's the main issue which is faced. Like if you don't so there are two different types of waste: dry waste and wet waste. Dry waste is recycled and wet waste are then composed, like they are then made into decomposers or fertilizers. So there are in dry waste there are more parts, like some plastics are which are not recyclable, but some of them which are recyclable. If you mix them, there would be a great problem to identify what products are really recyclable and not. So it's our first step to recycle things, and if we do not, we should be imposed.
So my point is, instead of applying the penalties on the recycling, so government should start the campaign or give the education to the people what are the side effects of the if you don't recycle the garbage, and also government should start the campaigns where they help to people to encourage them to know more about the recyclable material, and also it will be very helpful for the country to promote without penalty.
Okay, I think all of you have made your points. Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Okay, so my name is Juan. So my points, why people should be fined for not recycling. First of all, it decreases efficiency and it is dangerous for people. So it decreases efficiency for companies that are already like separating the waste. So for example, there is a disposal company called Vogel Disposal Service, and then in one of the articles they were explaining how it works, which is like they have a machine that sort of like work with magnets, and it sort of like tracks what is good for recycling and what is not, it will stay there. So whatever is not good for recycling, it's just gonna obstruct the rest of the stuff, which will decrease the efficiency and which will cause like damages to the machines and like bigger problems that will cost like a lot of money. So people should be fined because they are not understanding like the damage they're causing like throughout the whole process. Furthermore, it is dangerous to people, like the people that is working there. So all the items that are not like filtered by the machines, they have to go and hand pick them. And then according to this company, as well as the CBC, the news channel, most of the time in these recycling bins, people is putting dead animals, like needles, they're putting like a lot of hazardous like materials. So imagine like you have to go hand pick that, and it's just like something that can put your health in risk. You can get a disease, you can just get exposed to chemicals. So definitely people should be fined, so they are more aware of like everything that it's going through. Furthermore, this company is also mentioning that like say they're sending like a big load of waste to be bought from another country whatsoever. And if only one item is contaminated, the whole load is contaminated, and that's gonna be turned away. So that's creating like a bigger issue, because then they have to return the whole thing, which is already using gas and it's already like using like package and all that. So that's like creating like a bigger contaminating issue. And also according to the CBC news channel, they say that for example China, the rate for them to buy garbage, it cannot be over 0.5 contamination rate. So that's like very little, and like they also mentioned that like many of the Canadian cities are struggling to do that because of like these individual like items that are like contaminating the rest of the load. And people is not being aware of that. So if people is fine, they're definitely gonna like be more aware, and they're gonna be.
Is that okay? Thank you.
Thank you so much. You can add to your points later as well. So I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes to just quickly talk to each other and see how you want to respond to the opposing team, and then you will have your actual debate.